The difference between the United States and between Israel and South Africa is that the United States blindly backs Israel every step of the way, and Trump will continue that policy. So even though, if you look at the data coming out of Israel, Israel's economy is in ruins. If it wasn't for the United States, it would have collapsed by now. It can't sustain a one-year-long war. So there's nothing to force Netanyahu to the peace tables because there's nothing that the United States is doing to make peace possible. And that's, I think, the other tragedy of this. It's like you're in a codependent relationship with this person, and you're the, they're abusing drugs, and you're the one supplying them with the heroin, and not doing anything to stop it, and wondering why they're in so much trouble. One of the reasons I'm saying this is, at some level, the Arab world kind of forgot the Palestinians. Obviously not truly forgot them, but they had just, they had allowed blinders to go on, and they were ready to let it go. And now there's a bunch of 20-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 30-year-olds who are going, oh my God, this can't go on. And I don't care if you're a monarchy or a tyranny, there's no way you can ignore that large of a portion of your population and their position on this. And, one of the interesting things about the UAE is they spend a lot of effort trying to figure out what their people believe and what their people think, which is shockingly democratic for an.
They do a lot of polling over there. I remember when I was living there, we were always sending out polls. Yeah. And
the goal is, the monarchy doesn't want to get this wrong. They want to make sure they know what the people want. And they want to make sure that the people are happy, which, for the record, I think is actually the role of a state. Right? I don't think the monarchy is wrong for doing this. And I can't imagine that there are too many Emiratis or immigrants who are living in the UAE who are looking at the situation going, yeah, this is okay. I think the Israelis should just continue doing this. This is definitely the case in Saudi Arabia as well. And so the idea that Saudi is going to just turn around and normalize relations as soon as the violence ends, I think is off the table. I don't see how that's going to happen. If the Israelis needed vengeance and needed to kill some Palestinians for what happened on October 7th, that was probably done by October 20.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was no reason to keep going past that if your goal was just vengeance. The Abraham Accords, this is a really interesting kind of self-fulfilling tragedy event. So a lot of people are angry at the states that signed the Abraham Accords, the UAE, Morocco. First of all, a lot of states had already, I shouldn't say a lot, Egypt had already normalized relations with Israel to a large degree. So it wasn't like the Abraham Accords was the first to break through that. The idea behind the Abraham Accords, and whether you like it or not, this is the idea, was that if you started dialogue and trade and started getting Israelis to travel more freely and connected, that eventually the Israelis would calm down. And then some way down the road, 20 years, 40 years from now, a solution might be arrived at for the Palestinian people. That was the hope. I think one of the great tragedies of the way the Israelis are behaving is that I don't know how you can go back. At this point, I think the word genocide is the only word that's available. And, war crimes and crimes against humanity are the charges that need to be brought up in the World Court and the ICC. And so unless something dramatically changes in Israel, I don't know how the Abraham Accords get set back into place. The irony of all of this is if there was a path for peace going forward, the actions of the Israelis, I think, have eliminated that to a large extent.